Hi guys, we'll be starting with chapter number 5 of CBSE grade 9, the fundamental unit of life. Now, we are doing it from NCERT book so that you can understand the things which are given in the book, the small little questions that they can ask you in the form of MCQ or a 1 marker or a 2 marker. So let's start. While examining a thin slice of cork, Robert Hooke saw that the cork resembled the structure of a honeycomb consisting of many little compartments. Now, what is a cork? A cork is a substance which comes from the bark of a tree. Now, this is the first question they can ask you. What is a cork, or define a cork? Now, this was in the year 1665 when Hooke made this chance observation through a self-designed microscope. Now, we are talking about a period of 1665. At the time, the microscopes were not that great. So, he has just observed a dead cork. Now, cork, it is a part of a tree. So, it was a dead one. So, he took a slice of it and he observed it under the microscope. Now, what he saw, Robert Hooke called these boxes cell. So, what is a cell? Cell is a Latin word for little room. So here we'll have the first question. Who discovered cell and in which year? They can ask you in 1 marker or in a MCQ form. This may seem to be a very small and insignificant incident, but it is very important in the history of science. This was the very first time that someone had observed that living thing appear to consist of separate units. And the use of word cell to describe these units is being used till date in biology. So in biology, the smallest fundamental unit of life is cell. Now when we talk about chemistry, in chemistry the smallest fundamental unit is atom. So in bio also we have a smallest fundamental unit which is called as a cell. Now let us see what are these cells made up of. So they have given you activity 5.1, and this will be in the form of experiment in your school. Let us take a small piece from an iron bulb. With the help of a pair of forceps, we can peel off the skin, which is called as epidermis. So do remember, the outer thin membrane of an onion is called as epidermis. It is not even an onion. Even if it is outer thin layer of any plant, it will be called as epidermis. So what we are doing, we are taking a thin peel of the skin from the concave side. This layer can be put immediately in a watch glass containing water. This will prevent the peel from getting folded or getting dry. Now those who have biology practical, they can ask you why we put it under water. We put it under water so that it is not getting dried and to prevent the fold. Let us take a glass slide, put a drop of water on it and transfer a small piece of peel from the watch glass to the slide. Make sure that the peel is perfectly flat on the slide. A thin camel hair paintbrush might be necessary to help transfer the peel. Sometimes it becomes very difficult to transfer the peel or it will get folded. So we can take the help of a paintbrush or a forceps to make it little flat. Now we put a drop of saffron in solution onto this piece followed by a cover slip. Take care to avoid air bubbles while putting the cover slip with the help of a mounting needle. We have prepared a temporary mound of the onion peel. We can observe the slide under the low power followed by high power of a compound microscope. Now this is where they have given you the structure of a compound microscope and this is what we use in our labs. तो हम हमारे स्कूल की जो बायो लैब्स है उसमें हम कंपाउंड माइक्रोस्कोप यूज़ करते हैं. आपके बायो में इसका आपको पिक्चर या डायग्राम बनाने के लिए बोलेंगे and they can ask you questions related to this. So what Mr. Hooke has observed? What do we observe when we look through the lens? Can we draw the structure? Yes, we can draw the structure. And what are our observations? Our observation will exactly look like this. Now what it is? Now these are the small hexagonal cells in which the black dots are nothing but they are the nucleus. So each and every hexagonal compartment, it is called as a cell. So what we'll be seeing inside a cell, do we see similar structure or different structure? We will be seeing similar structure. What are these structures? These structures look similar to each other. Together they form a big structure like an onion bulb. We find from this activity that onion bulb of different sizes, they have similar small structure visible under microscope. So the cell of the onion peel will all look the same regardless of the size of the onion they came from. तो अगर हम कोई सा भी अनियन ले ले, छोटा ले ले, बड़ा ले ले, कैसा भी ले ले, और उसकी पील निकाल के अगर हम माइक्रोस्कोप के अंदर देख रहे हैं तो हमें सारे स्ट्रक्चर सेम ही दिखने वाले हैं, यानी सेम साइज ऑफ सेल आपको सब जगह दिखेंगे. These small structure that we see are nothing but they are the basic building unit of the onion bulb, and these structures are called as cells. So here we have our first question, mark it out. What is a cell? A cell is a small structure and it is a basic building unit of any particular organ that we have. Not only onion but all organisms that we observe around are made up of cell. However, there are also single cell that live on their own. Do you know which are the single cell? Yes, basically आपको पता रहेगा, अमीबा जो है वो सबसे बेस्ट एग्जाम्पल है सिंगल यूनिट ऑफ सेल का. Now, cell were first discovered by Robert Hooke in 1665. He observed the cell in a cork slice with the help of a primitive microscope, यानी पुराना वाला माइक्रोस्कोप था. Then Leeuwenhoek in 1674 with the improved microscope discovered the free living cell in a pond water for the first time. यहाँ पे हमारा second question रहेगा, who made improved microscope? So it was Leeuwenhoek in 1674. It was Robert Brown in 1831 who discovered the nucleus in the cell. Another MCQ question, who discovered the nucleus in the cell? So it is Robert Brown. In which year? 1831. Purkinje in 1839 coined the term protoplasm for the fluid substance in the cell. So what is a protoplasm? Protoplasm is nothing but it is a nucleus along with cytoplasm. So nucleus along with cytoplasm, it is called as protoplasm. लिख लेना, आपके लिए काफ़ी ज़्यादा useful रहेगा. Now we have another thing, the cell theory. Very important question. What is a cell theory? That all the plants and animals, they are composed of cell. First part of the cell theory, and that the cell is a basic unit of life. These are two important points of the cell theory. पहला point है आपका, all the plants and animals, they are composed of cell, and second है the cell is a basic unit of life, and these were presented by two biologists, Sheldon and Shawn. Now cell theory has a third point which was given by Virchow. So Virchow in 1855 he suggested that all cells, this is the third point guys, all cells, they arise from pre-existing cell. So we'll have a basic question, what is a cell theory and what are the postulates of cell theory? So cell theory says that all the plants and animals, they are composed of cell. Second, the cell is a basic unit of life, and third, all cells arise from pre-existing cell. So with the discovery of the electron microscope in 1914, it was possible to observe and understand the complex structure of the cell and its various organelles. यानी prior to 1840s जो भी ऑब्जर्वेशन अंडर द माइक्रोस्कोप किए गए थे वो बहुत ही ज़्यादा क्रूड लेवल पे थे, इन अ वे कि आपको सेल की बाउंड्री यानी सेल मेम्ब्रेन, थोड़ा सा साइटोप्लाज्म इन द फॉर्म ऑफ अ स्टेन दिखाई देगा, या फिर आपको न्यूक्लियस दिखाई देगा. ऑल द स्ट्रक्चर्स दे वर डिस्कवर्ड आफ्टर 1914 when electron microscope was discovered. The invention of the magnifying lenses led to the discovery of the microscopic world. It is now known that a single cell may constitute a whole organism, as in case of amoeba, chlamydomonas, paramecium and bacteria. Now amoeba single celled होता है, क्लैमाडोमोनास सिंगल सेल्ड होता है, आपका पैरामीशियम हो गया या बैक्टीरिया हो गया, दे आर सिंगल सेल ऑर्गेनिजम्स. दैट मीन्स अ सिंगल सेल विल परफॉर्म ऑल द एक्टिविटीज़ फॉर द सेल. एक्टिविटीज़ कौन कौन सी है? रेस्पिरेशन करेगा, सर्कुलेशन करेगा, एक्सक्रीशन करेगा, डाइजेशन करेगा. Now, these organisms, they are called unicellular organisms. Why? Because they are made up of single cell. On the other hand, many cells, they group together in a single body, and they assume different functions in the form of various body parts in a multicellular organism. So what is a multicellular organism? Multicellular organisms are those organisms which are made up of many multiple cells, like us, human being multicellular है. अब हमारे में स्पेशल क्या है? अब हमारे में स्पेशल है कि हमारे जो सिंगल बॉडी सेल्स हैं, दे क्लब्ड टुगेदर एंड दे परफॉर्म अ सिमिलर फंक्शन. तो वो एक हमारा ऑर्गन सिस्टम बनाते हैं, एंड दैट ऑर्गन सिस्टम मेक्स मल्टी सेलुलर वेरी वेरी यूनिक. एग्जाम्पल दिया है मल्टी सेलुलर का, फंगाई, प्लांट एंड एनिमल. Can we find out names of some more multicellular organisms? Yes, cat हो गया, dog हो गया, human being हो गए, plants हो गए, all of them they are multicellular. So every multicellular organism has come from a single cell. How? Yes, every multicellular organism has come from a single cell. That means आपकी लाइफ में एक बार तो कभी आप सिंगल सेल रहे होंगे अमीबा की तरह. How they do it? कि सिंगल सेल मल्टी सेल में कैसे कन्वर्ट होता है? So every multicellular organism has come from a single cell. So how? Cell divide to produce cells of their own kind. So yes, each and every cell in our body, it divides to produce cell of their own kind. तो हमारे normal body cells जो होते हैं वो divide करते हैं by mitosis and they produce cell of their own kind, यानी उनके ही जैसे दिखने वाले cells बनाते हैं. All cells thus come from pre-existing cell, and this is what Virchow has said in his theory. Now let us do activity 5.2. We can try preparing temporary mount of leaf peels, tip of the roots of the onion, and even peels of onions of different sizes. After performing the above activity, let us see what the answers of the following questions would be. Do all cells look alike in terms of shape and size? No, all cells they do not look alike in terms of shape and size. So answer is no. Do all cells look alike in structure? Somewhat they are look alike in structure, but yes, structurally भी बहुत सारे differences होते हैं. Could we find difference among cells from different part of the body? Yes, we can. What similarity could we find? The similarity that we can see is like basic structural similarity रहेगी. They will have a cell membrane, they will have cytoplasm, they will have nucleus. Some organisms can also have cells of different kind. Look at the following pictures. It depicts some cells from the human body. So these are the cells that we have. Smooth muscle cells, हमारे muscle cells ऐसे होता है spindle shaped. Blood cells है round. All of these they are nothing but the WBCs and the platelet that we have. Nerve cells, see the structure. That is the reason they were saying कि सारे structure same होते हैं. नहीं, structurally different होते हैं. This is ovum, sperm. This is our bone cell, very nice and beautiful one. And then we have our fat cells. So the shape and size of the cell they differ. They differ according to the function that the cell has to perform. So the shape and size of a cell, they are related to the specific function they perform. This can be a very good question where they can ask you, which are the parameters on which the shape and size of the cell depends on. So it depends on the function that the cell is performing. Some cells like amoeba have changing shapes. In some cases, the cell shape could be more or less fixed and peculiar for a particular type of cell. Example, nerve cell दिया है, shape बिल्कुल peculiar है, long elongated रहते हैं with dendrites so that they can pass on the electrical impulses or the electrical signals. Each living cell has a capacity to perform certain basic functions that are characteristics of all living form. So how does a living cell perform these basic functions? We know that there is a division of labor in multicellular organism such as human being. Why cell is able to perform so many activities? Because each and every cell there is a division of labor. अगर डिविजन ऑफ लेबर नहीं रहेगा तो सेल इतने सारे काम नहीं कर पाएगा. दिस मीन्स दैट द डिफरेंट पार्ट ऑफ द ह्यूमन बॉडी परफॉर्म डिफरेंट फंक्शंस. यस, हार्ट का अपना एक फंक्शन होता है, लंग्स के अपने फंक्शंस अलग होते हैं, आईज हो गया, ईयर्स हो गए, माउथ हो गए, तो इनके सेल टाइप भी डिफरेंट रहते हैं अकॉर्डिंग टू द फंक्शन. अ ह्यूमन बॉडी हैज़ अ हार्ट टू पंप ब्लड, a stomach to digest food and so on. Similarly, division of labor is also seen within a single cell. सिंगल सेल में भी डिवीजन ऑफ लेबर रहेगा, अमीबा में भी डिवीजन ऑफ लेबर रहने वाला है. In fact, each such cell has got certain specific component within it which are known as cell organelles. So what are cell organelles? Cell organelles are nothing but the specific component which are present inside the cell. Each kind of cell organelle performs a special function such as making new material in the cell or clearing up the waste material from the cell and so on. So each and every cell organelle has a specific function. उनके function specific होता है. हर एक organ सेल के अंदर जो रहता है उसे ऑर्गेनल बोलते हैं. तो उस हर एक ऑर्गेनल के अपने स्पेसिफिक फंक्शंस होते हैं. A cell is able to live and perform all its function because of these organelles. These organelles together constitute the basic unit of cell. So when we are saying a basic unit of cell में क्या क्या रहेगा? सेल अकेला तो नहीं रहेगा. सेल के अंदर न्यूक्लियस है, साइटोप्लाज्म है और डिफरेंट सेल ऑर्गेनल्स रहते हैं. Because of the presence of these cell organelles, a cell is able to perform all the activities. It is interesting that all cells are found to have the same organelles, no matter what their function is or what organisms they are found in. So let us see what a cell is made up of. What is the structural organization of a cell? We saw above that the cell has a special component which are called as organelles. How is a cell organized? If we study a cell under a microscope, we would come across three features in almost every cell. Yani each and every cell, it will have three prominent features. And what are they? First, a cell will always have a cell membrane, a nucleus and a cytoplasm. So all activities inside a cell and the interaction of the cell with its environment, they are possible due to these features. यानी आप कोई भी सेल ले लो, आप प्लांट सेल ले लो, एनिमल सेल ले लो, these are the basic thing that it will have. उसमें एक प्लाज्मा मेम्ब्रेन रहने वाली है कंपल्सरीली, न्यूक्लियस रहेगा ही और साइटोप्लाज्म होगा ही होगा. And we are studying these cell parts in detail. तो सबसे पहला